Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener podcast, join Hollywood talk about raw food. Should you really eat them raw, or are there some that need to be cooked prior to eating? Their guest this week, she is the co-executive producer of Growing a Greener World, master food preserver, and backyard gardener. Teresa Lowe will be on the program. The link will be placed in the show notes January 23rd at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on BePreparedRadio.com and downloadable from iTunes. Sponsored in part by DollarSeed.com for your flowers, vegetables, and herbs. All organic seeds, all only $1 a pack. DollarSeed.com. And by WillowSpringsSoap.com. Handmade soaps with simple, recognizable ingredients, making soaps using the cold kettle process while using traditional methods. WillowSpringsSoap.com.
ManureTea.com, authentic Haven brand, 100% natural soil conditioner for the home gardener, for all your vegetables, herbs, and flowers. ManureTea.com, always free shipping.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. I'm Joy Barrett. Well, today we're going to plant some peppers. Now, it may be a little early, you might think, for planting peppers, but we're going to plant them because for a couple of reasons. One, as they grow and they start to get taller, we're going to prune them back, which will allow the pepper to bush out more, and in turn, when we put it in the garden, it'll have more foliage and more area to produce peppers, and it'll be healthier than just having a giant stalk. So that's one reason why we're going to do it. And two, we want to get a jump start because peppers are tendency to take a longer time to grow than other vegetables you would put in your garden. Now this method works great if you have the space allotted in your residence to store the peppers and watch them as they grow. If you are limited on space, you may have to go to your nursery during the warm time of the months and pick out peppers and plant them that way. So there's a couple of different methods of planting peppers, and there's no wrong or right way. I'm just going to go over a couple of them. One, you can use little plastic cups. You can use the Fun Solo cup if you want. Now these trays here came with flowers in them from a neighbor who was going to throw them out. I salvaged them, and they work great to house the Solo cups or the small cups, and they fit very nicely in the miniature greenhouse that we have, or on a windowsill or a radiator if you want to go that route. So if you find these, save them. They are very beneficial to you. You can also grow them in the pea pots. I don't recommend that because peat pots are not very good reusable resource that we have. But if you go that route, as they mature, you want to rip them out of the pots prior to putting them in the ground. You can also just go to the traditional square pot, put them in a lid here from a pan. You can go your regular trays that you normally get at your home and garden center, or you can go the route of the expandable pea pots. Now, for those who may not be familiar, they come in a little disc, and you add water to the basin, and they'll swell up to that size. Very beneficial. You can get, I think, 72 in this tray here, so you could have 72 individual plants that you plant directly in the garden. They do have a mesh netting around it, and I would recommend, if you're going to put them in the garden, which you would, to remove that netting to allow the roots to be able to expand better, because sometimes the roots don't want to pierce through that netting very well. So there's just some different methods of planting peppers. We're going to go on the white trays, the 50-cell white trays. Now these were found along the side of the road in one of the recycling bins on junk day about 2 years ago. I found them, and they came with flowers in them. The tag was still in it, so you can find these during the spring months whenever it's time and people are throwing these out left and right. So if you can pick them up, and they work very well for what we're doing. They're very condensed. We can get a lot of plants in. So the method that we're going to go here, we got 50 cells. Each cell we're going to plant 2 pepper plants. And then as they mature and get taller, then we'll separate them and transport them over to the trays here in the cups to allow them to get bigger. So we want to see how they grow, if they all germinate, and then we'll move them as necessary. So let's get started by planting them. Now we're going to water them from the bottom like we did with our onions. So if you have these black trays, or you can pick them up at your nursery or home and garden center, you may have a lot of these laying around. Now you want to have them with no holes in them, because otherwise it's not going to be very effective to water them from the ground up. So if you have holes in the corners, and that's typically where they happen, you can take your hot glue gun, or if you have silicone in the garage, you can actually just plug those holes up and it will work very effective. So let's start getting them planted so we can start getting some peppers to germinate. So we're going to plant a couple different varieties here. California sweet peppers. We're going to plant some jalapenos. We're going to plant some bell peppers. We're going to plant some Hungarian sweet yellow peppers and some miniature bell peppers, or miniature sweet peppers. So these are a little bit bigger than the onions that we've planted, but we're still going to put them in a petri dish, or if you have a small bowl or plate, you want to take them out of the container here, and you want to use tweezers to plant them. So we're going to start on this side. Now as you're planting these, you want to mark them so you know what you've planted where. So one method, if you have labels, that's one way. Another way you can go about doing it is just taking, duct tape and a permanent marker and just tearing the tape in half and writing on that and sticking it vertical where you've planted what variety of seeds. So we're going to get started planting them right now. Watering from the base up as a self-watering container can benefit the plant by allowing the seed to have ample water, as well as not having the accidental flush out of the seed from the cell. Once the plant has established growth, by watering from the top, you can splatter water as well as dirt onto the foliage, which is an invitation to diseases, and the plant spends more time fighting off the diseases than growing and establish a good, healthy plant to transplant in the garden. All right, we got them all, 2 per each cell, and then we've got them labeled here so we know what's what when they come up. We're going to fill the basin with water so they can self-water themselves. We'll get our humidity dome on them, put them in our small greenhouse, and then as they get taller, then we'll decide if we're going to keep what we're going to keep. If all of them germinated, place them in the cups, prune them down, and we'll have very healthy pepper plants when it comes time to plant them in the garden. If you like what you see, you can subscribe and comment. I'm Joey Barrett, and this has been a Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. For more organic gardening, you can visit the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com.